The gods of the Celtic Pantheon. There are over 300 names of Celtic deities, and many have several names. What follows is information about the most important gods. The Dagda, the progenitor and all-father. He is the leader of the Tuatha De Danann and the god of life and death, the sun, prosperity, regeneration, banquets and magic. He had immortal strength and an enormous appetite. He commanded a huge cauldron called the Undri, with an endless supply of food, and he was always depicted with 2 pigs, one roasting and one growing. He could kill many men with one blow of his excessively large club, but could also restore life using the other end. He played a magnificent and beloved harp with which he controlled the changing of the seasons, and which would come to his hand when he called. Known as the Good God, his partners were the Morrigan and Boann, and he fathered Bridget and Angus. The Morrigan, the Phantom Queen, was the goddess of war, fate, death, priests and witches, revenge, violence, and the patron of servicemen and women. The number 3 is sacred to her, and she is often in company with Fae, hate, Babad, fury, and Masha, battle. She brought the red-haired gene to the Irish. She does not take part in a battle, but as a shapeshifter. She hovers overhead in the guise of a raven, a crow, and sometimes a vulture. She is Tuatha De Danann, royalty, and helped defeat the Fir Bolg at the first battle of Moytura and the Fomerani at the second battle of Moytura. When the great warrior Shi Shulain was about to die, he attached himself to a stone to remain in an upright posture. It was only when a crow landed on his shoulder, a sign from the Morrigan, that his men accepted that he was dead. Danu, Anu and Anna, is one of the very oldest earth goddesses and is the matriarch of the Tuatha De Danann. She is also the mother and daughter of the Dagda and possibly another aspect of the Morrigan. Her concept is Bay. Her name means knowledge, wisdom, teacher, and wealth, and she is known as the Flowing One, associated with many rivers in Europe, especially the Danube. She is the universal mother. With the coming of Christianity, she was demonized as a witch who ate children. She has a surprising following to this day, and there are many rituals which you can use to contact her using invocation. Lady Danu, mother of the gods and of the Tuatha De Danann, great lady of the flowing waters, spirit of the rivers, mistress of the fertile lands, giver of abundant harvest, join me here. I ask you to be here. Angus is the very complex god of love, youth, beauty, music, protection of lovers, dream work and creativity. He played irresistible music on a silver harp. 4 swans circled his head, and they are said to be the origin of the 4 X's one places at the end of a letter to represent 4 kisses. He owned a beautiful sword called Moraltak, the Great Fury, and a dun cow, both given to them by Manannan. He also had a magnificent horse. Angus was the result of an affair between the Dagda and Boann, water goddess of the Boyne. To hide this encounter, the Dagda made the sun stand still for 9 months. So Angus was conceived, grown and born on one day. He was brought up by Medea and was a fine, brave, beautiful young man and a loyal friend, often speeding to help other gods. In the dream of Angus, it is told that he fell in love with a beautiful maiden he saw in a dream. After much searching, he found her chained with 150 others destined to be turned into swans on the feast of Samhain. Her name was Chair Ibomith, and he was told he could marry her only if he could identify her after she had turned into a swan. Angus succeeded, turning himself into a swan and singing an enchanting song that put everybody to sleep for 3 days. They both flew away together. Lu, the Shining One, or Lu of the Long Hand, is one of the most beloved of the gods. He is also known as Lug and Ildanash, and sometimes mistakenly as Nuada of the Silver Arm. His grandfather, Balor of the Evil Eye, lived in fear of a myth that foretold his grandson would kill him. He, therefore, locked his only daughter, Ethlyn, in a crystal tower. Nevertheless, by way of magic means, Sean fathered Lu with Ethlyn, and in a fury, Balor threw the infant into the roaring sea to drown. Lu was saved and nurtured by the sea god Manannan MacLear, and he grew into fine manhood. He was handsome, youthful, and energetic, and always remained young. He had an impressive list of gifts and talents, being a wright, a warrior, a champion, a harpist, a sorcerer, a cupbearer, a brazier, a poet, a musician, a gifted blacksmith, a scholar, and a physician. Lu offered all these arts and gifts when he applied to enter the ranks of Tuatha Dé Danann at Tara, where he presented himself thus. Here there is Lu Lonenschlek, son of Sean, son of Dianchek, and of Ethne, daughter of Balor, foster son he of Talan, daughter of Magmor, king of Spain, and of Ishad, the rough son of Duash. Despite this lineage, they would not let him enter, saying that they had among them at least one person who had such a particular skill as he presented. Lu was also very inventive and smart, so he said, "Ask the king whether he has a single man who possesses all these arts, and if he has, I will not enter Tara." Then the king ordered all the chess players to come forward, and when Lu had won all the games, the king consulted Nuada, who said, "Let him into the garth, for never before has a man like him entered this fortress." Thus, Lu, the Shining One, took his rightful place. Lu is always honored at the festival of Lunasage in August, and he is the patron of Lyons. He also fulfilled the myth when he killed Balor at the second battle of Montura by smashing his evil eye right through the back of his skull with a brilliant slingshot. Dianchek is one of the more confusing and complex gods, also known as Dian, Shekt, Kainti, and Kanta. He was a druid and healing magician of the Tuatha Dé Danann. The name Dianchek means strong plough, and it harks back to the importance of skilled craftsmen, even among the gods. Dianchek is remembered for his skill as a silversmith, as well as his use of healing magic. He created a sacred and blessed well called the Toba Slain, the Well of Health, where all the Tuatha Dé Danann who became ill or were injured in battle would be completely healed. The remains of this can be seen at the Heapstown Cairn in County Sligo. This magic healing did not work in the case of a decapitation and one other instance, when Nuada, the leader of the Tuatha Dé Danann, suffered a severe injury to his arm in a battle. He had to give up the throne, as a Celtic ruler could not continue to occupy the throne if he were maimed in any way. Although Dianchek fashioned him a spectacularly successful silver hand, Nuada was still forced to step aside. Bress, the leader of the Foramini, was appointed king in an attempt to heal the feud between these two major tribes. This brought out the worst side of Bray's disposition. His greed, avarice, and sly hypocrisy eventually resulted in the people of the goddess virtually living as slaves, a position that could not be tolerated by the gods of the Tuatha De Danann. One of the signs of this state of affairs was the fact that Nuada's wrist festered where the silver hand joined his arm. Dianchect had several children, two of whom, Miach and Eramid, were also skilled healers, and Miach was able to restore Nuada's arm perfectly by retrieving the severed hand and uttering an incantation over it as follows: "Sinew to sinew, and nerve to nerve be joined." The hand healed, and Nuada led the battle to retrieve the throne successfully. Dianchect, instead of rejoicing, was infuriated by his son's superior skill, and in a fit of jealous rage took his son's life by deliberately wounding him in several increasingly severe attacks and ordering him to heal himself. This Miach did until his father struck him on the head, through the brain to the neck, a wound even he could not heal. Myth has it that 365 different healing herbs grew on Miach's grave. Eramid carefully separated all the medicinal herbs and plants according to their healing properties, but her distraught father destroyed the methodically tabled order, thus causing us forever to lose our ability to know which plant to use for which ill. Many mythologies present stories of familial conflict, especially between father and son, but this instance of jealousy between two protagonists concerning the gift of healing is unusual. Aron, god of the other world, the underworld, or the dead, is also known as Arawin or Arawen. Remember that in Celtic mythology, the underworld is not a dark place, but a pleasant, light place where one lives happily if one has led a good life on earth. Aron is also a god of war, terror, revenge, and spirit contact. His best-loved pastime is hunting through the sky in autumn, winter, and early spring with his large pack of white, red-eared dogs in search of stags and deceased human souls, whom he guides to the other world. On the hunt, he is often accompanied by a frightening hag called Matilda of the Night. Genealogy of Bridget. The genealogy of the holy maiden Bridget, radiant arrow of flame, noble foster mother of gods, Bridget, the daughter of the Dagda, Dagda, the good god, the son of Ethlin, Ethlin, the daughter of Balor, Balor, the king of Fomor. Every day and every night that I say the genealogy of Bridget, I shall not be killed, I shall not be injured, I shall not be enchanted, I shall not be cursed. Neither shall my power leave me. No earth, no sod, no turf shall cover me. No fire, no sun, no moon shall burn me. No water, no lake, no sea shall drown me. No air, no wind, no vapor shall sicken me. No glamour out of fairy shall overtake me. And I, under the protection of the holy maiden, my gentle foster mother, my beloved Bridget. Bridget, the exalted one, also known as Bridget, Brigindo, bride and mistress of the mantle. She is a goddess of fire, the forge, the light, and the sun. Wells and springs, healing, childbirth, poetry, smithcraft, and martial arts. She was born as the sun rose, and wherever she walked, small flowers and shamrocks would appear. She grew up on the milk from a sacred white cow that lived in the other world. She was so beloved by the Celtic people that she had to be assimilated to Christianity as Saint Bridget. Her father was the Dagda, her mother the Morrigan. She was married to Bress in an effort to heal a rift that had opened between the Irish tribes, but this strategy was a failure. Bridget had 3 sons, Ruadan, Brian, Lucha, and Ua, all famous warriors. When Ruadan was killed in battle, her grief was overwhelming, and her lamentations were heard around the universe. This is said to be the origin of the Irish custom of keening at a death. She had threefold power from fire: the fire of inspiration, manifesting in poetry; the fire of the hearth, manifesting in midwifery and healing; and the fire of the forge, manifesting in exquisite smithcraft and all the martial arts. At her shrine in Kildare, a perpetual flame was tended by the women who studied with her, and it burned brightly for over 1,000 years. It was extinguished during the Reformation by King Henry VIII as Bridget's persona was slowly Christianized. Vigil at the well. A rock ledge, a dark pool, pale dawn and cold rain, and a woman alone holding 3 coins. She circles the well 3 times in the rain. She offers the coins to a great ancient tree, then bends to the pool, a glimmer of silver, dawn striking the pool, a fish in its depths. The pool stills again. The sky blazes red. The woman gets up. Nothing seems changed. But the next day a wind blows warm from the sea. Boann, goddess of the river Boyne, also known as Boanan and Boyne. She also has powers of healing, fertility, and water magic. Her husband was Nectan, the god of water and the guardian of the Sidhe Nectan, the well of Segay and the fountainhead of knowledge and wisdom. The well was surrounded by 9 hazel trees of wisdom, and the nuts used to fall into the well and feed the speckled salmon who lived there. This is the origin of the myth that salmon are great guardians of knowledge. No one except Nectan and his cupbearers was allowed to approach the well. Boann was curious, and whether it was a desire for more power, a thirst for wisdom, or perhaps seeking cleansing from conceiving her son, Angus, by the Dagda, she approached the well one day while she was walking her dog, Dabila. She circled it 3 times, widdershins or anti-clockwise, challenging the water and chanting an incantation. The waters of the well rose up and swept them both away as it flooded the land and forged a pathway to the sea. This became the River Boyne. In some versions of the myth, the waters divided into 5 streams, each representing one of our senses: sight, taste, smell, touch, and hearing. Mannanan, the great god of the sea, said, "The fountain which thou sawest with the 5 streams out of it is the fountain of knowledge, and the streams are the 5 senses through which knowledge is obtained. And no one will have knowledge who drinketh not a draught out of the fountain itself and out of the streams." Maeve is an exceptionally interesting deity and also a historical figure as the Queen of Connaught. Her name means either intoxicated or intoxicating woman, and she was both with her long golden hair and her fiery temperament. She was incredibly strong, a brilliant and inspiring warrior, a horsewoman par excellence, a fine hunter and charismatic, or perhaps demented, leader, intensely competitive and fiercely persistent. She represented the height of feminine power and rewarded her most outstanding soldiers with delightful sexual favors. The troops all competed for Maeve's willing thighs, and she had no problems in dispensing the reward, as she boasted that she required 32 men a night to satisfy her sexual needs. However, her favourite lover was Fergus Roche of the Red Branch. Lucky Fergus. An argument with her consort, the High King Ailill, not about infidelity as you might imagine, but more about inequality, would bring about one of the best-known sagas of the Celtic mythology in the Táin Bó Cúailnge, called the Brown Bull of Cooley. You can visit Miscone Maeve, her burial mound in Knocknarina in Count Sligo. Sadly, she too was tamed by the fierce Christianity which took root in Ireland with the arrival of St. Patrick in 432 CE. You will be surprised to find her unrecognisable in the guise of Titania, the fairy queen in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, or as Queen Mab in his Romeo and Juliet. Queen Mab. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner, squirrel, or old grub. Time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers, and in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Oh, courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight, oh, lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, over ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which doth the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Extract from Mercutio's speech in Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. Her gravitas is perhaps better served in Percy Bysshe Shelley's great philosophical poem, Queen Mab. I am the fairy Mab, to me 'tis given the wonders of the human world to keep, the secrets of the immeasurable past, in the unfailing consciences of men. Those stern, unflattering chroniclers I find, the future from the causes which arise. In each event I gather, not the sting, which retributive memory implants in the hard bosom of the selfish man, nor that ecstatic and exulting throb which virtue's votary feels when he sums up the thoughts and actions of a well-spent day, are unforeseen, unregistered by me, and is yet permitted me to rend the veil of mortal frailty, that the spirit, clothed in its changeless purity, may know how soonest to accomplish the great end for which it hath its being, and may taste that peace which in the end all life will share. This is the meed of virtue. Happy soul, ascend the car with me.